Some of the most bizarre ones that are off the top of my head, like claiming to speak to the dead, like, hello, I can speak to your father who recently passed away. Yeah, a little bit weird. Maybe some improvised biting or sucking on lip during a kissing scene. A crying meltdown, maybe in Blake's trailer, showing your wife's birthing video to the cast and crew members, or even claiming that pregnant women, when they're giving birth, they tend to just rip all their clothes off and that's why they're naked. But I don't know if that actually happens. I have friends that have given birth before. I don't think they do that. Pregnant women tear their clothes off while giving birth. Pregnant women are given gowns, disposable underwear, slippers, probably not tearing their clothes off. There's talks of other types of tearing that happens when you're giving birth, but that's about it. Anyways, very interesting. I was very ambitious about this complaint that was filed when I live streamed it because I thought I can cover it in 1 hour. It took about 3.5 hours. If you guys want to hear me, listen to me read the entire complaint that was filed by Blake Lively in regards to the sexual harassment, other things that happened on the set of It Ends With Us. We do have the live stream. It's 3.5 hours long. Feel free to sit back, listen to it, listen at 2.5 speed, and it'll probably be like an hour and a half long for you guys, okay? But for those who just wants to know just the gist of it, because you don't want to be sitting there for 3.5 hours, we're going to cover it right now. And I think, you know what? I think we can do it pretty quickly in this one. I think we can, because it's all in my head right now. It Ends With Us is a book that was written by Colleen Hoover. It's a book that has maybe like a sort of a cult following. I think it's pretty big on Book Talk, which is like books, TikTok. You guys don't know what Book Talk is? I don't know. Okay, I learned about it this year. It was a book written by Colleen Hoover, and Justin Baldoni purchased the rights to it back in, I think, roughly like in 2019, because he was given the book to read. He really liked it. It resonated with him. He said that he was tearing up when he was reading the book, and he wanted to make a movie about it. Justin Baldoni is an actor who was in... I didn't watch this, and you guys might be like shitting on me, but Jane the Virgin, I think that's what it's called. Let me look it up real quick. Yes, Jane the Virgin. He was on that as an actor, and so he decided to create his own production company called Wayfarer Studio. Now, Wayfarer, they are the ones that are producing the film It Ends With Us, and there's been a lot of drama with this. There's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of behind the scenes shit that's been happening that we don't know about. We've just been seeing all the speculations, all the conjectures that's been happening on social media. This all starts back during the summertime when Justin Baldoni is seen promoting the movie separately from the other cast and crew members. He plays as the lead role, Ryle Kincaid, I think is his name, with Blake Lively as the female lead, who meets Ryle Kincaid. They fall in love, and then she soon realizes that Ryle is not what he seems to be. Yeah, he might be a really hot, sexy neurosurgeon, but this guy got anger issues. Okay, he's got anger issues. He's abusive, and things don't really turn very well in their relationship. When we have the cast and crew members, the cast members, they are promoting the movie. They're like, where the fuck is Justin Baldoni? Why isn't he here? Not only is he the director of this film, he's also the lead role, or one of the lead roles, and it's just kind of weird to have him not participating with all the other group members while they are, promoting this film. It Ends With Us. Not only that, but people are starting to realize that, Justin Baldoni, he follows the cast members. None of them follow him back. Do they unfollow him? And Colleen Hoover, the author who wrote the book, she also seemed to have unfollowed him as well on Instagram. Seems like she's also promoting the movie with the cast members and not Justin Baldoni. What is going on here? Also, I know it's been a year later and my background still looks really fucking sad. It's because, furnishing your place is expensive, okay? I've been trying to furnish my place, but I've been focusing on my living room, dining room, and honestly, hopefully a vlog will come out soon. My living room, dining room looks amazing. Background here, I'm going to be working on this year because right now it just looks really sad, desolate. My dog toys are everywhere. Lamb's over there, and it's a mess. I know, don't worry, I know. Now back to the It Ends With Us drama. Here's a timeline for you guys. Back in June 2023, so this is like around the summertime, they were filming in New Jersey. However, filming had to come to a halt because there was a Writers Guild strike. The American Actors Union, they were also striking as well. So production for this film had to halt. This was like in the middle of summertime. Now, y'all also got to remember that there was drama on the set because people felt unsafe being around Justin Baldoni, who again was the director, the lead actor in this. He was playing as Ryle Kincaid. And not only him, it was also James Heath, the CEO of Wayfair. Wayfair was producing It Ends With Us. Wayfair was also co-founded by Justin Baldoni. So imagine feeling unsafe, and these people are kind of sort of your bosses. These are the people that are like, you know, the big man, I guess, on the set or something. Oh, that sounds kind of weird. After the strike was done, Blake Lively and her attorneys gave Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair attorneys a protections for return to productions. This was in November. They had like an all hands meeting where they would discuss the actions of Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, again, the Wayfair CEO. So the first one is in regards to Blake Lively's weight, all the weight that she had gained, especially after she was pregnant and she had just given birth, I think a couple weeks before they did filming. A few weeks before filming began and less than 4 months after Miss Lively, 4 months, sorry, I thought it was weeks, began giving birth to her fourth child, Miss Lively was humiliated to learn that Justin Baldoni secretly called her fitness trainer without her knowledge or permission and implied that he wanted her to lose weight in 2 weeks. Baldoni told the trainer that he had asked because he was concerned about having to pick up Miss Lively up in a scene for a movie, but there was no such scene. So maybe it's possible that Mr. Baldoni was like, Blake Lively still looks a little bit chubby after she had given birth. I thought she'd be fit by now. And maybe he reached out to the trainer, was like, hey, like, you know, I don't want to tell Blake Lively this, but maybe you can start putting her in some exercise where she can lose weight. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Okay. And I did hear people on the internet defending Justin Baldoni saying, well, Justin Baldoni just had like back surgery or something like that. So he was very concerned about, you know, if he had to pick up Blake Lively, it would probably hurt his back. However, in Blake Lively's complaint, she's saying that there was no such scene of her being picked up by Justin Baldoni. And honestly, this could just be easily dispelled by seeing the script. Does it have a scene where Justin Baldoni picks up Blake Lively? Okay, and this one's a little bit crazy if it's true. Mr. Baldoni offered her as a gift to connect her with an expert he had on a retainer because apparently she had gotten sick, and he's like, well, I know someone, you know, they can help you get probiotics and combat the sickness that you have. When Miss Lively went out to fill the privacy forms, she saw the expert was not what Baldoni had represented her to be, but instead was a weight loss specialist. Miss Lively felt again that Mr. Baldoni was shaming her for her body and weight. So maybe this specialist was a weight loss specialist, but then she also was able to help you with other situations as well. I don't know. I don't know what her resume looks like, but if he was lying to Blake Lively and misrepresenting what the specialist was doing, and instead was trying to, you know, give her something to make her lose weight, you know, that's a little bit shady. And honestly, this should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. This is a complaint by Blake Lively and her team. We're only getting one side of the story. We haven't heard from the other side yet. I heard that Justin Baldoni was going to file a lawsuit against Blake Lively. However, the courts are closed right now, and they're waiting until after the new year for the courts to be open again to file the lawsuit. So I will definitely be covering that, and we'll wait. Okay, so in regards to dead people. Yep, you heard that right. Dead people. Mr. Baldoni was distressing other people on the set because he had claimed that he can speak to the dead. And I think specifically he told Blake Lively, like, hey, I spoke to your like recently deceased father, and this is what happened. This is what he said. I'm just assuming that's how the conversation went. I don't know. I don't know if there was other cast members or crew members that Baldoni did this to. But, you know, if you had just recently lost someone that was important to you and someone comes up to you and says like, oh yeah, I recently spoke to your dead father. Like, here's what happened. I'd just be like, I don't know. It could be really fucking off-putting. Or you could just wave it off and just be like, okay, this person's crazy. I'm just going to walk away. Bye. But, you know, we don't have the contents of what Justin Baldoni was saying to Blake Lively exactly. If he was like really getting in on the details, like, yeah, you know, your dad told me this, your dad told me that, and like he's saying this about you and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, that could be really fucking weird and really distressing. I don't know what he said. It doesn't really say specifically what was said to Blake Lively, but we just know that she's claiming Baldoni was speaking to her deceased father. Okay, and so for this one, I think initially I misread it because I thought that the actors were underage when this happened, but I think it's just the actors were playing the underage version of Blake Lively and another person who's like in the book as well. And so this is what it says. In both the book and the script of the film, there was no sex scene between the underage characters. Instead, the details about this moment were left to the audience's imagination. But Mr. Baldoni added in considerable details, including both dialogue between young Lily and her boyfriend, Atlas, these are the characters in the book, about the loss of their virginity, as well as simulated sex scene in which Mr. Baldoni filmed, and included in his final cut of the film a close-up of young Lily's face, accompanied by an audible gasp at the moment of penetration. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. I said it really quickly. I don't know if you guys heard that. So Miss Lively was informed that when the scene was shot, Mr. Baldoni called cut. He walked over to the actors and said, I know not supposed to say this, but that was hot. Did you two practice this before? So if I were to hear this, I don't know, like it's really hard because you have to put yourself in that situation, right? That to me could sound innocuous. It could just be like, oh, the director was like really impressed with your acting. And when he said hot, maybe not in terms of like, oh, he was turned on, but like, hey, that was like a really hot scene. Did you guys practice before? That was really good, right? However, the reason why it could sound really creepy is because of the context of how the cast and crew members had already perceived Justin Baldoni. So getting to some of the sexual harassment allegations, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath often spoke of their previous pornography addiction. Baldoni would often reference pornography to Miss Lively, hoping to shut the subject down. She just told him privately that she's never seen it. Later, when Baldoni was once again referencing his experience with porn, he revealed in front of other cast and crew members that Lively had never seen porn before. And to me, it's like, Jesus, I don't know. She probably has seen porn before, but she probably just wanted to shut the conversation down. Like you have an employee, right? You have like a coworker who's like talking to you, like talking about porn. You're just like, hey, why the fuck are you talking about porn with me? I've never seen it. Okay, I'm shutting that conversation. I've never seen it before. And so that's probably what happened. And then later on, imagine that coworker be like, hey guys, Blake Lively, she's never seen porn before. Can you believe that? Like, oh my God, that's so crazy. That's so bizarre. Oh, okay. So it continues. Miss Lively observed, he told a female cast member that her leather pants looked sexy when she arrived to the set. She rebuffed his comment because she was uncomfortable. And rather than apologizing, he brushed it off with, I can say that because my wife is here today. Now, regarding the wife thing, I think, was it? Oh, it was a different guy. Okay. So apparently, when there's a scene where Blake Lively gives birth, right? And so Justin Baldoni wanted her to be completely naked, I guess, because apparently he said that when pregnant women give birth, they like rip their clothes off. And at least that's what his wife did. Now, not only that, but the Wayfair CEO apparently was showing the video of his wife giving birth to other people that were on the set. And so at first people thought that it was like, oh, like they see like a nude woman with her legs spread apart, right? They thought it was like porn or something. But then they realized like, oh, wait, that's not porn. That's like someone giving birth. And he's like, yeah, this is my wife giving birth. This is my wife giving birth. She isn't weird about that stuff. Like, why are you being weird about it? And so they thought that was like really weird to be showing that. There was also a different day where Blake Lively was apparently wearing like a really low cut dress because it made it easier for her to breastfeed. This is what it says. Baldoni pressured Miss Lively, who was in her pre-approved wardrobe, to remove her coat in front of the crew and multiple background actors in a packed bar. He said he wanted to see her onesie under the coat because it was zipped low to reveal her lace bra. Consistent with past practice, he said, I think you look sexy, in a tone that made her feel ogled and exposed. With other female cast present, she said, that's not what I'm going for. He bristled and replied, I'm sorry, hot. Deeply uncomfortable, Miss Lively said, not that either. Mr. Baldoni responded sarcastically, I guess I missed the HR meeting, and walked away. Another woman in the production spoke to Miss Lively afterward to offer empathy and to share her own experiences with Mr. Baldoni, commenting about her in sexual terms. So people who think that Blake Lively is making this up, she's lying, she's like, exaggerating. I mean, the thing about this is that it seems like we have a lot of witnesses to all these sexual harassments or these comments and things that are being made. Because usually in a workplace environment, and I mentioned this before, in a workplace environment, it's usually pretty unlucky. It's usually just you and that other person that's sexually harassing you because, no one's around. Maybe they feel free. Maybe they feel confident. Maybe they feel like they're not going to get caught making these comments towards you because it's your words against theirs, right? And so with Blake Lively's complaint, like I said, there's a lot of witnesses. So we'll probably get some affidavits from other cast members, crew members to either say that like, oh, what Blake Lively said is true. This happened to me as well. Or it could just be like, Blake Lively's lying. This never happened. I don't know what she's talking about. Oh, and actually while we're on this topic, I'm going to mention this because people are like, well, why didn't Blake Lively just quit? Why didn't Blake Lively say something before? Why didn't she file a complaint? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's probably because, I'm just assuming here, but maybe Blake Lively really bonded with the cast and crew members. Maybe she didn't want to be a letdown to them. Maybe she didn't want to quit on this project because she bonded with the author, Colleen Hoover. I don't know. There could be a multitude of reasons as to why she decided to stay on. And then also in the beginning stages, when you're being sexually harassed, a lot of times people will kind of like downplay it. So like if it happens to you, maybe there's like denial at first. Like, oh, this person said this. Oh, maybe it didn't really happen the way I thought it happened. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe it was my fault. Maybe I was being too friendly. And then sometimes you don't really want to escalate it because you don't want to make a big deal out of something. It's until it happens over and over again where you're just like, okay, well, I'm pretty fucking fed up with this. I'm working here. Why should I have to deal with this person's horrible behavior? And it's possible that, she felt like there was people that was relying on this movie, this production, and she didn't want to let them down. Like I said, I don't fucking know, right? But I could easily see someone with that mindset. It could also be that if she had quit the production, if she had quit the movie, she could be a letdown. And moving forward, I mean, these people are still going to be working with Justin Baldoni. Maybe she thought that she was the only person that could protect everyone, and these are the people that she bonded with. I don't know. That could be it. Maybe not. Maybe she just wanted to fucking do it. Or, some people are like, oh, well, she's lying. I mean, why else would she stay on this, production? And like I mentioned that, usually when stuff like this happens, you just kind of it's unfortunate, but people do tend to, at some point, maybe build immunity to it. But because it was happening so often and it was getting maybe worse and worse, at some point, she's like, well, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to say something about it. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. There was also mention of Blake Lively saying she felt uncomfortable because Justin Baldoni had improvised a kissing scene where he bit and sucked her bottom lip. Ugh. I actually always wondered about that though. In movies when they're filming stuff like that, how often is it improvised, and how often if it's hey guys, this is going to be a sex scene, we need to stick to X, Y, and Z, what we practice, what we rehearse, because other than that, it could be, it could be you're taking advantage of a sex scene, you're trying to sexually harass someone while you're shooting something. Or if a lot of it is just okay, we'll just improvise and let's just go with the flow. Let's see what looks the best on the scene, and whatever makes it look sexy. I've always wondered that. Another one was on May 29, 2023. Another cast member lodged a sexual harassment complaint against Mr. Baldoni's gross and unwanted comments, or in quotations, towards her and others. I wonder who this person is. Okay, so here's another bizarre one with the whole having a meltdown in Blake Lively's trailer. On the second day of filming, Mr. Baldoni made the rest of the cast and crew wait for hours while he cried in Miss Lively's dressing room, claiming social media commentators were saying that Miss Lively looked old and unattractive. Based on paparazzi photos from the set, she tried to reassure him that she should look authentic in the scene depicted in the photos, which were just after her character had been abused by her fictional husband rather than looking hot. Not only that, there was more to this. They apparently tried to have a meeting with Justin Baldoni and then also the Wayfair CEO, James Heath. And rather than have a professional, I guess a scheduled meeting, have it with everyone there. Apparently the CEO of Wayfair arrived unannounced at Blake Lively's hair and makeup trailer. She was topless. She was having body makeup removed by the makeup artists. And so she said that she was almost done. And he was like, well, if you're not going to meet now, there's going to be no meeting happening with the producers in the future. So it says here that Blake Lively reluctantly agreed, but asked that Mr. Heath keep his back turned, away from her while she was being, getting the makeup and all that stuff removed, right? And so she said that, well, he was having a conversation with her a few minutes in. Blake Lively noticed that Mr. Heath was staring directly at her while she was completely topless. And so she tried to call him out, but Mr. Heath brushed it off as a habit of wanting to look at someone while speaking to them. Yeah, but you made the agreement to have your back turned because this person was topless. I don't know, pretty bizarre. But, makeup and hair was there. They can be there to attest to whether or not this actually happened, or this is an exaggeration, or who knows, right? Miss Lively and her and makeup artist were all deeply disturbed by this interaction on just the second day of filming. More throughout, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath invaded Miss Lively's privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including while she was breastfeeding her infant child. Now, these were all allegations, and these allegations are fucking wild, okay? They're freaking crazy. Now, what really is the focus of this complaint? Again, this is not a lawsuit at this moment. It's a complaint that Blake Lively filed with the California Civil Rights Department. And from then on, the California Rights Department, they can either do their own investigation, or they can, give Blake Lively, I guess, the green light to go after and sue Justin Baldoni. That's what I read was it a New York Times article or Variety article? It's one of those articles. This complaint alleges that Justin Baldoni and his team engaged in a retaliatory scheme against Blake Lively for her speaking out about the things that were happening on the set. Again, she wasn't publicly speaking out or anything about it, but she spoke up, let Sony know, because Sony was the one who was, bankrolling this as well. And she wanted to make sure that there was protections put in place to protect her and other people that were on the set of It Ends With Us. And so they said that this is illegal under federal and state law for the fact that Mr. Baldoni retaliated because I spoke up about all the sexual harassment stuff and amongst all the other crazy shit that happened, okay? So let's get back into the timeline of things that are happening. We're in the summertime at this point. They are promoting the movie, and the cast members are all promoting the movie without Justin Baldoni. And so there's speculations that are happening on TikTok, on social media, where they're like, why is Justin Baldoni promoting the movie by himself? Why is no one following Justin Baldoni on Instagram or other social medias, including Colin Hoover, because Colin Hoover seemed to have been really close with Justin Baldoni. But what happened? It seems like Justin Baldoni has been ousted by everyone else. And so there was speculations that there was drama on the set. There was a Daily Mail article that said that Justin Baldoni was like chauvinistic and like borderline abusive. But you know what? There was also some articles about Blake Lively as well, some negative press about her saying that, because they went with her cut of the movie, like she steamrolled over poor Justin Baldoni, who is like, he's like a new and upcoming director, and he's being steamrolled by these A-list actors. And not only that, it's because, she's married to Ryan Reynolds. So people were speculating, well, did she try to use her husband, Ryan Reynolds, who, by the way, was blowing up even more during the summertime because of Deadpool. Deadpool had just came out during the summertime with Wolverine. Oh, God, Hugh Jackman. I love Hugh Jackman. Anyways, okay, sorry. Jesus. I just went on a tangent, like a mini little tangent. Let's get back to it. What we're talking about. Daily Mail article just about it. Okay, that's right. So they were trying to say that Blake Lively was taking over creative control over Justin Baldoni's movie, and she and her husband probably steamrolled over him and got what she wanted in the end. And so there was, some negative press about the both of them, but nothing really too crazy. In my opinion, it was just like, okay, there's some drama here and there, and that's about it. Now, in this document, it talks about how the reason why Blake Lively and the cast members, the reason why they promoted the movie the way it did is because Sony wanted to make sure that they weren't going to focus on DV, all the sad stuff, all the depressing stuff. They want to focus on the uplifting part and how this was a story about a woman who has to go through this like ordeal and then how she comes out of it. And, this is all social media was really getting on Blake Lively for promoting this movie. Like, I think the phrase was like a Barbie movie. She talks about the fashions of it. She talks about the flowers. She's like promoting her products, her hair care products, I think her alcohol line, stuff like that. And so this was really distasteful to a lot of people. So here are some Blake Lively interviews we can watch together.
Really loved those patchwork jeans that you have.
Magnolia Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my real life jeans.
Yeah, a lot of that is your stuff.
The boots were mine.
Oh, I love those boots.
There's these great Louboutins that are also a close up on them when we're dancing in the bar. Those are mine. I have a few of my husband's shirts and socks randomly in the movie. I have some of Gigi Hadid's sweaters in the movie.
Oh, that pink one?
Yeah.
I love that.
She has she has this line, guest in residence, but also she would run out and I would be like, I want this one because all the really cool patterns and whatnot.
I fell in love too. I saw the red flags, but they didn't look red. They looked kind of fuchsia and cute. But I ignored them and I see why. And the story is told with such empathy that I feel like this movie can be healing, it can be a cautionary tale, and it can also it can be inspiring.
On the other hand, we have Justin Baldoni. Apparently he was following Sony's guideline initially when promoting the movie. But this complaint alleges that, when Justin Baldoni realized that Blake Lively was getting shit on for how she was promoting the movie and how it was just too positive and not focusing on victims of DV and stuff like that, that Justin Baldoni was like, you know what? I'm going to take this moment to shift the way I promote this movie. That way I look better and I look more genuine, and I'm going to talk about DV. But I could see that as either a strategy where he realizes, okay, fuck Sony, I'm not going to go with how they want me to promote the movie. Or he could just be like, well, I don't really care about the DV victims. I'm just going to do this only because it's making Blake Lively look better right now, and I want to look like a good person.
Imagine what it could do for women and people who are in this situation all over the world, because all of us have a situation or a pattern that we need to end the cycle of.
How did it change your mindset, I guess, going into a movie like that touches on domestic violence?
Well, I think it's a great question. I think as a man, I'm always going to come with my own biases. And it's one of the reasons I was afraid to direct this movie, let alone act in it. And I wanted to make sure this film always had a female gaze, and I was never putting myself into it. But one of the things that I think is very easy to say, especially for us men, is when we maybe talk to somebody who's in this situation, or we read a book, or we or we hear a news story, the question that's always asked is, why did she stay? And that's the wrong question.
Yeah.
What we need to be asking ourselves is, why do men harm?
Yes.
And
So Justin Baldoni is really addressing the substance of the movie, not just talking about flowers and all that stuff. However, like I mentioned, we learned that it's because Sony wanted the cast to promote the movie this way. This is what it says. What to avoid. Focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about DV. Empowerment is not just about standing up to adversity, but also having the power to overcome within oneself and grow from it and developing agency to shape the future. Avoid describing the film as a love story or a love triangle. Avoid talking about the film that makes it feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. It's a story of hope. Avoid talking about the film representative of every woman's story. There are stories of domestic violence, and this is just one perspective inspired by Colleen Hoover's own experiences. Now, in Blake Lively's complaint, they said that things were starting to change on August 10. August 10 was when Blake Lively was getting a shit ton of hate. Kirsty Flaw interviews celebrities, and she had just dropped this video on her YouTube channel about a interview that she did with Blake Lively and I think the other co-star is Rosie Parker. I think that's her name, where the two of them were basically ignoring her. Blake Lively was being rude to her. The other actress was also being rude because they were kind of like, it wasn't even a real interview. Like, is it a real interview if you're like talking to your co-star and you're completely just ignoring the third person and you're like kind of looking at them sometime here and there, you know, sort of engaging with them? This interview drops, and that is when I saw a huge turn of tide against Blake Lively. I was seeing other interviews dropping with Blake Lively, all these clips of Blake Lively being a mean girl, gossip girl, blah, 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 blah. And honestly, I think the hate that Blake Lively got, I think it just didn't really fit the crime. But here is, I mean, I've already mentioned this multiple times in my live stream. This is where my mind goes. I don't automatically just think that someone's just a piece of shit, right? It's like, okay, well, the interview was really fucking bizarre. Watch the interview, by the way. Watch the interview. I think it's at like 6 million views right now. The interview was just so bizarre because Kirsty Flaw was like, congrats on your bump. And then Blake Lively retorts back, congrats on your little bump. And then it's like, that's kind of weird. Like, is she offended? Like, I think during this time, Kirsty Flaw says that Blake Lively's pregnancy was well known. And she looked very pregnant, in my opinion. So it's not like she looked like she was like sort of pregnant. And then you're like saying like, oh, congrats on your bump. And then it's like, well, how do you know I'm pregnant or not? Maybe you're just saying that I'm fat. I don't know where I was going with that. But it was just a bizarre interview. And so my mind goes to, well, was she having a bad day? Because that's a bizarre reaction to someone congratulating you on your pregnancy. Did something happen before the interview had started? Was there already like previous drama happening between her and this interviewer? The interviewer said there was no drama before, you know, like she just was very confused about that interaction, what was happening. It was just really weird. It was a very weird interview. However, it made the public perception of Blake Lively into, oh, I knew it. I knew she was a mean girl. There's been interviews of her before where I had an inkling, but now I know for sure that she's a mean girl. She's rude, blah, blah, blah. After that interview drops, you know, we see a lot of hate on Blake Lively. Like, I swear to God, it was a trend to hate on Blake Lively because I would just get all these video recommendations on my YouTube. Blake Lively did this, Blake Lively said that, blah, blah, blah. And not only that, it was also like on Instagram as well. Blake Lively actually had to limit comments on her Instagram. So you know how like on Instagram, you could still make your profile public. People could steal your pictures or they could still see your posts and all that stuff. However, when you go in the comment section, it's only like 4 comments. You're like, well, it's a big celebrity. Why is there like little comments in there? It's because their comment section has been limited to people that maybe like Blake Lively follows or approves or something like that. And so there was a huge hate train on Blake Lively. There's all these articles that were like, you know, talking about her. And I was following every single bit of it because it was wild. It was crazy. However, in this complaint, we got some behind the scene text messages. I'm telling you guys, we got some text messages. And initially when I was reading this complaint, I was like, how the fuck do they get these text messages? Like, these are text messages directly to and from Justin Baldoni, people that are working on his PR team. And so we find out that, well, a lot of stuff was happening behind the scene, especially with Justin Baldoni's publicist, the people that he was working with. But that's a whole different video that we've already covered. If you guys haven't seen that already, watch the Justin Baldoni lawsuit. His former publicist is suing him. Not only that, she's also suing her former employee that she worked with who was also working for Justin Baldoni. Like, it's a whole mess. Okay, it's a whole mess. Just to get into that whole recap, that's a whole mess. Definitely watch that video. I think if the video's not out yet, just watch the live stream because we covered that lawsuit, and the lawsuit is pretty fucking crazy. If you think this one was crazy, that one was also really crazy. And as the cast members are publicly promoting this movie without the presence of Justin Baldoni, we get text messages from Justin Baldoni's publicist texting him saying, "We can't have fans starting to guess why JB is left out of this stuff." Oh, sorry. She was texting someone else. On June 24, 2024, for example, Baldoni proposed an offensive move showing his neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it to explain anything that he had been accused of was of social awkwardness and impulsive speech. So it's like, okay, well, if this sexual harassment thing comes up, let them know that I'm just a really awkward motherfucker, okay? I'm impulsive. I say shit that I shouldn't say, and it just happens. Here's a text message from Justin Baldoni to his publicist. Let me know what you guys think of this. How do I zoom in on this shit? Oh, here we go. From Justin Baldoni to Jennifer Abel, the publicist. "Hey guys, one thing I want to do is the Dr. Amen show. Matt, I know you have your feelings about it, but his practice saved my friend's Miranda's life a few months ago. With everything going on, I just want to have an offensive move showing my neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it so I can start talking about it. Most anything that I've been accused of is social awkwardness and impulsive speech. And I think me sitting down with him and just looking at my brain and talking about some of these things will be helpful for me. So it could be a good way to, hey, let's make sure this gets out now. That way, later on, if the sexual harassment stuff comes up, people could be like, oh, wait a second. A couple months ago, I remember Justin Baldoni was being diagnosed by this doctor, and it said that he was impulsive, that he was awkward, he's neurodivergent, blah, blah, blah. That could explain as to why some of his actions could be misinterpreted for sexual harassment. However, I do want to point this out, though. I don't like it when we only get one text message, okay? In order to really understand the context of text messages, yes, this message does say a lot. We need context. We need the chain of text messages, okay? We need to see the messages before, the messages afterwards, not just this one text. So as this is all happening behind the scenes, Justin Baldoni is sweating. He's afraid of the sexual harassment stuff coming out. People are speculating as to why he's not promoting the movie with other cast members. They start hatching a plan for, crisis PR. Just in case the shit goes down, we need to make sure that Justin Baldoni is protected. So Justin Baldoni, again, is working with his publicist, Jennifer Abel. Jennifer Abel and Justin Baldoni, they hire Melissa Nathan, who does crisis PR. Melissa Nathan hires someone to do, I forgot his name. We'll get to the name, but Jed, I think. Yeah, the name is Jed. She hires Jed in order to do all the social media, all the crafty stuff that's going to be happening behind the scene. So here's what we got. We got this confidential document. Scenario planning, it ends with us. And we're not going to read the whole thing. Again, if you guys want me to read the whole thing, it's already been done in the live stream. Go watch the live stream if you guys want the whole thing. And I should add chapters to the live stream. That way you guys can jump around and go to the parts where you guys want me to. Yeah. I think I should add chapters to the live stream. I'll try to remember to do that. So here are some scenarios of things to happen. And then if this happens, here are the actions and plans that Justin and his PR team are going to take. So we have scenario number 1, Blake and team push out negative story regarding Justin and Wayfair post-premiere. Depending upon the scope of our push, we recommend planting a seed earlier on the position to your truth/narrative around the ordeal in a subtle way to avoid having a backtrack. An idea for this, and working alongside Jen, is giving a friendly reporter. Jen is Jennifer Abel, again, his publicist. Working with Jen is giving a friendly reporter who is covering her film a simple line hinting that while you and Blake didn't always agree at time, had our differences, you have respect for her. How many times have we heard that line from celebrities? Oh, we just had our creative differences. We respect each other. Yeah, bullshit. This way, if Blake Lively's stories are softer, we don't look so aggressive. If it's a hit piece, then we've teed up reporters properly that there were issues with her. Oof, it's genius. Scenario number 2, Blake subtly hints at her experience in post-premiere coverage. It's funny, they say experience. What they mean is the sexual harassment allegations. Either in an interview, op-ed, or otherwise. Our prediction is that Blake Lively addressed her experience on set and upcoming press. She will not name you directly, but rather pepper in Easter eggs, alluding to her involvement, being mindful not to completely jeopardize her potential involvement with the film's sequel, while still planting seeds of doubt and speculation, especially amongst the passionate fan base. Our recommended approach would be to provide reporters who reach out for the comment, should it be obvious she's referring to you, with the appropriate background information. Listen to scenario 1. To ensure the stories are balanced and the speculation can be turned to one another onto many other people she's had issues working with, Leighton Meester, Anna Kendrick, Ben Affleck, etc. Scenario number 3. Ryan Reynolds comes forward in defense of his wife. They're like, oh man, please Deadpool, please do not say anything publicly. We do not want to go against Deadpool / Marvel right now. Or is it Disney? I don't know. Okay, so should Ryan come forward in defense of his wife, we would advise against any direct engagement, statement, etc. Inquiring reporters and those in need of updating would be given a pre-approved line of background attributed to source, implying his lack of communication or connection in involvement with the making of the film, and that this is another imbalance of power, an attempt to strong arm production by major A-list stars. And people were eating that up because people were like, oh my God, look at Blake Lively. You know, she's trying to steamroll over Justin Baldoni, poor Justin Baldoni, and she's trying to get her husband in on this. They're trying to steamroll over him. It's like an imbalance of power. And I remember seeing that in the comment section. I remember seeing the articles or reporting about this, and people were like, yeah, Blake Lively is probably a bully. She's probably pushing him and making him do things that he doesn't want to do. As a part of this, our team can also explore planting stories about weaponization of feminism and how in Blake Lively's circle, like Taylor Swift, have been accused of utilizing these tactics to bully into getting what they want. So they are also working on getting quotes for these 2 teams we use to get the best results. We got quote number 1, 175K. This would be for a 3 to 4 month period. It includes website to discuss full Reddit, full social account takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything. Engage with audiences in the right way. Start threads of theories to discuss. This is the way to be fully 100% protected. Quote number 2, 25K a month, minimum 3 months as it needs to be seed, same as above. This will be for creation of full social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change the narrative and stay on track. I wonder if this involves the use of bots, like lots of bots. Like, hey, you know, we support Justin Baldoni. Like, oh, Blake Lively, why are you a piece of shit? Blah, blah, blah. And then when you look at the account, it's like 0 follows, 0 following. It's like just made an account recently. Now we're in August around this time. Justin is, you know, he's like sweating because, like I said, you know, the cast members are promoting without him. People are speculating on TikTok, social media. On August 1st, before any of the cast sat down for interviews at the film's press junkets, Miss Abel said to Mr. Heath and Wayfair personnel that she held an in-person meeting with a contributor to Fox News, People Magazine, In Touch, US Weekly. Miss Abel explained that during the meeting, she had fully briefed the contributor of the situation with Miss Lively. Miss Abel stated the contributor was armed and ready to take the story of Blake weaponizing feminism and assured Mr. Heath that the contributor will do anything for us. Here's a text message. This is from the publicist of Justin Baldoni to Jamie Heath, which is, I think, the Wayfair CEO, right? Yeah. Thanks for the call. Confidentially, I'm out to dinner with a friend of 12 plus years who writes for People Magazine, Fox News, In Touch, US Weekly, and she's fully briefed the situation and is armed and ready to take this story of Blake weaponizing feminism to any of her outlets the minute we give her the green light. She hates Blake, has heard this story before, and will do anything for us. Just FYI, smiley face. Now, the document that I was showing you guys earlier, where it showed like the scenario planning, like, oh, scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3 with Ryan Reynolds, do not engage. Apparently, when Mr. Baldoni, Justin Baldoni, got the document, he writes this: not in love with the document they sent, not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call. However, when his publicist and the crisis PR person was talking, they were like, well, you know, Justin Baldoni wants to feel like he can bury Blake Lively. However, in the documents, like, we can't be writing, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, because imagine what would happen if this ended up in the wrong hands. You can't have it in writing. Here are the text messages. So this is on August 2nd from Jennifer Abel, the publicist, to Melissa Nathan, the crisis PR person. You can, of course, do that, but I do think he needs to know. I'm going to confidentially send you something he's texting me and Jamie on the side just to arm you before this call. I think you guys need to be tough, show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried. ... Melissa Nathan, the PR crisis person, replies back, we can't write it down to him. We can't write down, we will destroy her. We will go to this, we will do this, we will do this, we will do this. He has to look at it as an information document for us to be armed with. That's all. Imagine if a document saying all the things he wants us ends up in the wrong hands. Woo! Oh boy. Now we're just going to go through more text messages, and this is a timeline leading up to the movie's release at August 9, and then also August 10, when apparently to this document and this complaint, they allege that's when shit all just basically hit the fan, okay? So now we're in August 4th, and this is from the publicist to the crisis PR person, Melissa Nathan. I'm having reckless thoughts of wanting to plant pieces this week of how horrible Blake is to work with, just to get ahead of it. She's putting us through hell. Melissa Nathan replies back, same. Am I already off the records? Spoke to the daily editor, Daily Mail, because she's my friend. She's ready when we are. Ms. Nathan and Abel viewed and referred to the shared work on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair as social combat plan. So the PR person, Jennifer Abel, the publicist, to the crisis PR person, Melissa Nathan. I think we really need to put the social combat plan into motion. She replies back, so do I. On August 9, Melissa Nathan sent Miss Abel, the publicist, 2 links to articles. One from the Hollywood Reporter entitled, Did Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni have a rift over It Ends With Us? Sleuthing TikTokers think so. And one from the Daily Mail entitled, Disturbing Truths Behind Why Blake Lively and her It Ends With Us co-stars are feuding with Justin Baldoni. The Daily Mail article reports on allegations that Justin Baldoni was chauvinistic and borderline abusive on the set of It Ends With Us, and then also discusses this and other claims with respect to the film and is cast in details. Jennifer Abel, the publicist, stated to the crisis PR person, Melissa Nathan, I can tell you've done a lot of work here, and continued, nothing about feeling unsafe, fat comments, sexual. Thank fucking God. So remember, the unsafe comments would have to do with the cast and crew members feeling unsafe around Justin Baldoni and also James Heath as well because of the sexual harassment allegations. And so they're like, well, at least it's not about the sexual harassment stuff. It's about fat comments, sexual. Okay, that's fine. As long as it wasn't anything mentioning the unsafe part. Now, on the day of the movie release, August 9, Miss Nathan indicated to Miss Abel that she was on the phone with her sister, Sarah Nathan. So remember, we have a Melissa Nathan, who is a crisis PR person, and now we have a Sarah Nathan, who is her sister. A sister who is a journalist at the New York Post and a contributor at Page 6. And remarked that Mr. Baldoni's religion should be taken out from media coverage, she wanted to state, and mostly the misogynistic. Later that same day, Melissa Nathan texted Jennifer Abel a link of the article on Page 6 by Sarah Nathan entitled, Truth Behind It Ends With Us Feud Rumors. Justin Baldoni made Blake Lively uncomfortable, sources says, stating, I knew she would keep uncomfortable. Now here's a text message again on the day that the movie was released from Jennifer Abel, the publicist, to Melissa Nathan, crisis PR. So are we in the clear now? Do we survive? She replies back, we survive. All press is so overwhelming. We've confused people. So much mixed messaging. It's actually really funny if you think about it. Miss Nathan further texted Miss Abel that the worst is over. Again, on the same day. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer Abel, I really think the worst is over. I do think the next few months definitely will be a tiny bit bumpy, but not canceled. This is the next day on August 10th. Again, this is when apparently shit went down, according to the complaint. This is also when Kirsty Flaw posted a video about Blake Lively being rude in that interview video. From Jennifer Abel, the publicist, to Chris's PR, Melissa Nathan. Ha! Yes, I've had some people text me too, and I just didn't respond. The narrative online is so freaking good, and fans are still sticking up for Justin, and there literally has been no pickup of those 2 articles, which is actually shocking to me. But I see this as a total success, as does Justin. You did such amazing work. Melissa Nathan replies back, narrative is crazy good, so did you. The majority of socials are so pro-Justin, and I don't even agree with half of them. LOL. Melissa Nathan, the PR person, writes to the publicist, he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him just how fucking lucky. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations, like Jesus fucking Christ. Other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, this is just so much. Jennifer Abel writes back, nothing. Very, very little pickup. Fans remain supportive of you and believe the issue. Oh, this is to Justin Baldoni now. Nothing, very little pickup. Fans remain supportive of you and believe the issue of the feud is because she took control of the movie. The following day, Miss Abel confirmed to Mr. Baldoni there's been nothing, there's been very little pickup. Earlier on August 9, 2024, so sorry, we're going back and forth between August 9 and August 10, Miss Nathan shared with Miss Abel that she had been informed we are crushing it on Reddit. Jed. So Jed is a person that they hired, and this is a person who was going to be doing all the social media stuff on behalf of Justin Baldoni's team. And so I don't know if this is where like the bots are getting involved, where, you know, they're having like the fake commentators, stuff like that. That's what I'm just assuming. The quotation appears to be a reference to efforts by Mr. Wallace to seed and influence online forums on Reddit, attacking Miss Lively and defending Mr. Baldoni. Here's a text message on August 8th from Jennifer Abel. Oh, sorry, it's from someone else to Jennifer Abel. You guys will love this. A link to a TikTok. Basically saying that Blake needs to divorce Ryan because he's made her into a meme. He's ruining her biggest movie of the year, forcing her to ostracize Justin, rewriting the script, etc. On August 10, this is from Melissa Nathan, the PR person, to Jennifer Abel, the publicist, and socials are really, really ramping up. It's actually sad because it just shows you have people really want to hate on women. That same day, a member of the tag team, so again, that is someone from Melissa Nathan's PR firm, advised of a shift on social due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. Here's a message to Jennifer Abel, the publicist. Hi team, so far extremely limited pickup on Daily Mail or Page 6. We'll continue to keep an eye out and send pieces as needed, but so far it's been steady coverage on pure speculation. We've also started to see a shift in social, due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Lively. Again, we'll continue to send links and screenshots, but wanted to send an update in the meantime. So a lot of people think that Kirsty Flaw at this point was possibly working with Justin Baldoni, his PR team, to really shift the narrative and trash Blake Lively. But here's the thing. When I watch her videos, she comes across as genuine to me. I don't know, maybe I'm really bad at reading people. I feel like I'm usually pretty good. I can see why people think it's a real fucking huge coincidence, because we're talking about like the August 10 and they're talking about like, oh, you know, Jed is working to really shift the narrative on social media. And people are like, oh, Kirsty Flaw happened to post a video on August 10. That timeline matches up. But honestly, like, I think that we really shouldn't be pointing fingers at this point until there's proof. Like I said, I think her video, she comes across as really genuine, believable in my opinion. And it's possible that the reason why Blake Lively was on her mind recently is because there has been coverage with Blake Lively in regards to her being in the It Ends With Us movie with a possible feud and drama with Justin Baldoni. So it's possible that that could have just been fresh in her mind. And that's why she was like, oh, you know what, Blake Lively, I remember I had this shitty interview with her. And you know what? I'm just going to post it on the fucking internet. Fuck it. I'm just going to post it on the internet. So I don't know. I think for this, I think maybe people are divided. But I don't know. It could be a coincidence. And I tend to not think that people are like malicious until we get more evidence. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about this. Oh, and I also want to mention this. It's not like Kirsty Flaw took a video and then manipulated it to make Blake Lively look bad. I think it's literally just a raw video of uncut, her interaction with Blake Lively and the other co-star, where she just sat there and things were just really bizarre and the two women were just kind of like ignoring her and acting like she didn't exist. So even if she had worked with Justin Baldoni, this is even, okay, this is like if she was even working with Justin Baldoni in order to, you know, tear down Blake Lively's career, blah, 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 I don't know if that really fucking matters, because we're not judging, we're judging the video based on Blake Lively's actions. The video seems uncut. It seems to be a raw footage of it. Now, do I think someone should be canceled the way Blake Lively was for, you know, an interview that she had back in 2016? I don't think so. I don't think that the video was bad enough for all the hate that Blake Lively got afterwards. I do think that, yeah, she should be scrutinized, but for the hate that she was getting, like I said, it could just be manufactured hate. Because now that I know with all the stuff that's happening behind the scenes, I'm like, damn, was it all manufactured? Were there just mostly bots or was commenting? Because it seemed like there's a lot of hate against Blake Lively. Now I'm like, were they genuine? Or was it just people, or was it just like bots that were created by, you know, these behind the scenes people? I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know now. I do think there was a genuine reaction to Blake Lively, but I just don't know if that reaction would have been that extreme. I would hate to be judged and forever remembered for something that I did within a small time, for like a little blip of my life. You know, like say for example, was having a bad day. I run into someone and I accidentally say some shit that I'm like, fuck, I really regret that. Like that was kind of mean. I didn't have to say that, right? I know people are like, well, you can just always be nice forever and never be rude to people. It's like sometimes like it just slips. Like sometimes it just happens, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person, you're a piece of shit. It just means you're fucking humans, and humans have flaws. As long as later on, you know, you learn and you grow from it. I don't know. I don't think that everyone should be perfect human beings. I mean, if we could all be perfect like Hugh Jackman, that would be amazing. But that's not realistic. It's not. We're human with flaws. That's what I'm saying. And honestly, I was waiting for the Blake Lively apology, okay? Because apparently Christy Flaw uploaded a video with Anne Hathaway where Anne Hathaway is a little bit like off-putting a little bit. And Anne Hathaway like emailed her, was like, hey, I'm really sorry. And we don't know the full context of it, but she emailed her an apology. I think, you know, even if it was back in 2016 and I was really rude and I knew I was really fucking rude to someone, I might issue an apology too. But now, if Blake Lively thinks that she was in on the whole, you know, social manipulation, the whole like social takedown of Blake Lively, maybe that's why Blake Lively is disinclined to give her an apology. However, I think apology is still warranted because that was bizarre fucking behavior in my opinion. That was bizarre fucking behavior. I think she should still apologize. Be like, hey, like, I'm so sorry. I was having like a bad time that day. Or you made a comment about my blah, blah, blah. And I was like reacting horribly. Like, I apologize for this. You know, I think apology is still warranted. So here's a text from Justin Baldoni from, was this August 15? Yeah, from Justin Baldoni to his publicist and also to the crisis PR person. He writes this. No worries, quickly. My partner Steve asked about flipping the narrative from this leak this AM about Ryan saying script was a disaster. He saved the movie. Justin writes, to something about Ryan claiming the female hired was feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc., using their own words against them. So I wonder if this was something that Justin Baldoni thought that Ryan said, or he heard Ryan said, or if he's just like, okay, let's just make up this entire fucking narrative and let's just go with this because this could make Ryan Reynolds look really fucking bad. I don't know. I have no idea. And then he references his partner, Steve. I think in the beginning of this complaint, Steve was referenced as someone who backs Wayfair, and they're like a billionaire or something like that. So I think they're trying to say that like, oh, you know, Justin Baldoni has like endless amount of resources that he can tap into to destroy Blake Lively. I don't know if it was like a billionaire or maybe it was like a millionaire. I mean, it was like 100 millionaire. And so Miss Nathan, his publicist, assured, or so not Miss Nathan, the PR crisis person, Miss Nathan, assured Mr. Baldoni that this was an easy flip before indicating that she was already working on a story for Variety that would achieve this goal. So I don't know if Ryan Reynolds actually said this or they're just like, yeah, let's just make this shit up and let's just make Ryan Reynolds look really fucking bad. Now, Justin Baldoni. So the allegations in this complaint are fucking egregious. They're really fucking bad. They look horrible. Some of them could look like, okay, this person's really fucking awkward. They're saying things they shouldn't have, or maybe he's just a little too uncomfortable. And he thinks that he's like best buddy with people when really that connection, that relationship is not there. And, you know, maybe he just gets really comfortable with people and then he's like really open with them. I don't fucking know. But there are some of these allegations that are just really straight up really fucking bad and really just straight up creepy. And, you know, a lot of times people are like, well, maybe they didn't know any better, you know, maybe he just doesn't have like experience, blah, blah. Like, yeah, Justin Baldoni's in his like late 30s, I think, at this point, and he should have known better. But see, here's the thing with Justin Baldoni. Justin Baldoni claims that he is like a feminist ally. He's like on this podcast called Man Enough, and he talks about like, you know, toxic masculinity. And Justin Baldoni presents himself as someone who is like, you know, we need to fight for women's rights. We need to make sure women don't feel uncomfortable again. And here are some quotes that this complaint has from Justin Baldoni. Let's just shut up and find and listen to the women in our lives. Men are going to have to start doing now is recognizing. Men are going to have to start doing now. What? Men are going to have to start doing now is recognizing. What is it? What the fuck is this quote? It's messed up. Men are going to have to start doing now. What men are going to have to start doing now is recognizing when they made women uncomfortable and didn't realize it. Imagine being sexually assaulted, finally coming forward about this traumatic thing that has happened to you, and having people act like you were to blame. It's It's important for us men to realize how crucial a role bystander can play in stopping, preventing assault and harassment, how we must be a part of the movement and call for respect and equality for women, act upon that call to action, and continue to perpetuate positive behaviors among ourselves and our communities. Are you confident enough to listen to the women in your lives? And will you be man enough to stand up to other men when you hear locker room talk, when you hear stories of sexual harassment? So, this is part of like Justin Baldoni's image. He wants to be like a feminist ally. So Justin Baldoni should for sure know better. I mean, everyone should know better, right? But like, come on, Justin Baldoni. So again, like I said, this complaint is completely one-sided. Oh, I think I wanted to read this as well. Sorry. In sum, Mr. Baldoni has crafted a public image of himself as not just an ally, but also a fierce advocate for women. Contrary to this image, as set forth in the detail above, Mr. Baldoni has spent the last several months in significant resource of his goal of wanting to bury and destroy Miss Lively for raising concerns about his and his CEO's harassing behavior and other disturbing conduct. I think that's about it. So they do like an analysis of Blake Lively and how this like damaged her reputation. She had like a hair care line that was coming out, and they were projected to do really well, but they ended up like just tanking. She had to make the social media accounts for all of her companies, like not private, but the accounts are like unlimited. So, again, the comments have limited interactions. And so, yeah, it's been a real fucking wild ride. But again, this is a complaint. This is all one-sided. We have text messages, but these text messages are like isolated. We need to see the whole context, the full thing. And from what I've heard in the grapevine, I heard that Justin Baldoni is planning on suing Blake Lively, but he's just waiting for the courts to be open because I think they're on holiday schedule right now. But you know what? On December 24th, Christmas Eve, Justin Baldoni was slapped with a lawsuit by his former publicist because she is suing him for like breach of contract. And not only that, she's also suing Jennifer Abel, who was her former employee. During this time, she fired Jennifer Abel. Like, I think like after like this whole like August debacle that was happening, Jennifer Abel, the publicist that was working with Justin Baldoni, got fired from her job. And that's a whole other, like I said, it's a whole other video. Feel free to watch the live stream that we did a couple days ago, because that one was a fucking wild. Okay, this whole thing has been really crazy. You know what? I always had the feeling that there was shit like this happening behind the scenes. Like, of course, like you're gonna have bots, you're gonna have like all this like social manipulation behind the scenes, where they're going to try to turn the tides or try to like, try to really influence the public audience into believing like, oh, like things that were happening weren't really that bad, or this person's actually a really good guy, or this person's a piece of shit. But yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting to see all this, especially in like text messages. And we're just getting these complaints, these lawsuits happen left and right. And yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely going to continue covering this because it's crazy, very wild. But like I mentioned, these are wild. I can't wait to hear from the other side when Justin Baldoni and his team, they file his lawsuit to see, maybe he can explain some of these messages. Maybe he can explain some of these actions away and not just say that like, oh, it's because I'm neurodivergent and I just say things on a whim and I just have a hard time controlling my mouth. All right, y'all. So I'll keep an eye out on Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. When that drops, we'll definitely cover it maybe on live stream. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you guys want to watch the full complaint filed by Blake Lively, that is going to be on the live stream. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. Happy New Year. And damn, what a start of fucking, what a way to end the year and then start a new year. So stressful. So stressful. Yikes.